Hey, this is Sean with the podcast Thrive Not Survive After Child Abuse with another episode. I had to redo the episodes of yesterday, so it's posted. You see a post of my podcast, two of my podcast posted. Sorry about that. Two of the podcast posted on the same day, and that was because my podcast of yesterday. The audio went wrong, so I just recorded actually that podcast of yesterday again, and now I'm doing the podcast of today. If you can still follow me, right? So I was talking a little bit about yesterday about being okay. Not so comfortable, being okay to feel a little bit ashamed if you're not so good yet at things that you want to be good at, right? So all these emotions and feelings you need to do if you want to push through barriers and if you want to achieve something. So if you're interested how that is, please go back to the previous podcast. Today I want to go and talk about an entirely different topic, a very serious one, right? This podcast is about thriving and not surviving after child abuse, and at times I also talk about raising awareness for abuse in the world, right? Specifically child abuse, but in general and sexual abuse. And I think if you have been with me for a while, I think I proved to you that every minute that I talk, every second actually I have to say, every second that I talk, there is a new victim of sexual abuse in the world. And that's a low estimate. Just think about it just for a moment, right? And if you follow that calculation, and I will do it one more time, really precise, but it comes down to about 30 million sexual abuse victims every year that we add to this world, right? They don't go away after 1 year, right? Once you're a victim, you're always a victim, and the struggle that you have coming from it will stay with you for a long time, right? Now, this podcast is meant to help those victims and find strength, and in the end, have a thriving life again. But I was listening to the news today. I try not to do that so often anymore because there's so many negativity around. It doesn't help. A lot anyhow. You might have a different opinion about that. That's okay. But I try to feed myself less and less with negative things, and news is definitely something that doesn't always help us getting positive vibes, so to speak, right? But there was one thing that actually disturbed me, or at least alerted me, maybe more, or maybe both actually, from the news of today, is a few days, I think it's already 2 weeks ago, that I talked about that due to COVID-19, where we are more in our houses, and for good reasons, by the way, that the number of child abuse victims actually are rising. Think about this, right? Child abuse happens for 80 to 90% always in the domestic environment. It's often done by a very close family member or a very close, friend, or someone that they trust very well because they're often in their life. So 80 to 90% of the child abuses happen by someone that the child knows very well. The same was in my case. I was 7 years old and I was abused by my uncle. If you have followed this podcast, you know that I wrote a book about it, where you can read the story in the first 2 and 3 chapters as well. So that's one thing. So child abuse, unfortunately, is rising. It's already high enough as it is, but it's rising because we have to spend more time in the house. But disturbing news from Interpol. If you don't know what Interpol is, but Interpol is a connection of police forces mostly in Europe, where they work together. But Interpol gives a warning that perpetrators who actually trying to get in contact with children online is on the rise as well, because children spend more time at home behind their computer. So the reason why they do that, because they saw that the views of child pornography, it's unfortunately very sad that we still have that in our life, child pornography, that they saw that the views of that was rising, because also the people who watch that are more at home, and they watch more child pornography. Now, I don't want to talk about at the moment how that pornography is made. That's really bad. But with that, they actually started to research if maybe those people are also trying to solicit, young children to be engaged in things online, and that's also abuse, by the way, right? So that's also abuse. So this is something that's coming from outside. Most of the time I talk about child abuse that has to do with domestic violence and someone in close proximity of children. But in this case, I have to warn you, if you're a parent and your children are more online than normal, please view what they are doing, right? Make sure that you have an open conversation about it, because often they try to hide what's going on, because automatically or internally a child often knows that they're doing something that is not so right. But these perpetrators that are doing this are very skilled in winning over the trust, and the first thing that they always try to do is making sure that the child is not going to share what they are doing. So one time asking might not do it, right? So this is my warning, my request actually to you. If you are a parent of young children and they spend more time online, make sure that you know what they spend their time on, right? These are not the best things to talk about, but it's very serious. So anyhow, this was Shah with that request. Keep your children safe. And in these times, there are enough other things to worry about. Let's make sure that these things get out of the world as soon as we can. This was Shah from the podcast Thrive Not Survive After Child Abuse. I'll hear you back tomorrow. Bye bye.